All right, let's settle down and get into our call today. Well, this young lady needs no introduction, but then again, she does need an introduction because she's a fireball. She challenged Mr. Cooper to come to Texas, where she was out in San Antonio, and I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna make it happen. She rolled her sleeves up and went to work. See, that's the sign of a leader. They make a decision and then they go to work and make it real. Don't set the date to go to the next level of business and don't make it. Roll your sleeves up and make it real. Go after it and make it real. There's nothing stopping you but you. And this young lady understands that exactly. Without further ado, can we give a warm welcome to Regional Director, Miss Roxann Corralejo?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you and that information. But I do want to give it back to you, Mr. Thomas. It is truly an honor to be asked to speak on this call, but even a bigger honor to be asked to come back. That means I'm doing something right, doing something good, to be able to even just when I first was told about this call and the invite was extended to me, I really felt like, oh my gosh, I feel special. I'm not part of your organization. I'm not part of your team. And to be able to be mentored and hear from such a great individual, someone that's just so giving and impactful and has done things that I want to do, has gone places I want to go, has done so many fabulous things in and out of this business. He's just such a great mentor. I was so excited just to be a part of this call and then to be asked to speak. I'm like, oh my goodness, things are moving forward. So thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I really appreciate you, and I'm always truly honored to be here. So today what I want to talk about is one, my recent read, and I think a lot of you have already read this book, but not only the book that I'm reading, but a couple things that I've implemented from the book. So when we learn, when we train, when we're mentored, that's one step of the process. We have to implement everything we're taking in. And if you don't implement it, there's no change. And I feel like for some of you guys that are on this call day in and day out and hear these leaders just aren't implementing the process, aren't implementing what you're hearing. It sounds great. And you're like, awesome. Yeah, I want that to be me. But you're just not making the proper steps. And I want to talk about how we can do that, how we can progress forward and make those proper steps to move forward. So first off, the book is Atomic Habits. I know a lot of you have read it. Who here has read it? Show of hands. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So one thing I do, you see my pen here, and it is my ID Seal pen. I highlight, I write notes. Not only do I take in what I'm reading, but I also take notes on how I'm going to implement it, but then also how I'm going to regurgitate this information to you guys or to my team or to other people that I talk to, because it's not just what we're bringing in or what we're learning, it's how we can impact other people also. And this information is so good to me, and I know it's impactful for me. I know it can be impactful to other people. So I want to regurgitate some of this information. But one of the great things about this book is that it's such a phenomenal book that I know some people struggle with, and they ask me all the time, well, how do you turn cold market into warm market? How do you talk to new people every single day? Mr. Thomas talks about going out and getting 3 leads a day. How do you make that possible? Y'all, this is one way. Walk around with this book and it'll make your life so much easier. So as I was flying out to Orlando, flying out and coming back, I had that book. And I'm not a big plane reader. I do get motion sick and headaches, and it's kind of rough. I said, you know what? I'm going to have it out. I'm going to try a couple sentences, try a couple pages, whatever I can do. But just by carrying that book, I had people coming to me. Just by holding it in line at McDonald's, I had someone tell me, oh my gosh, that's such an awesome read. And we started a conversation. The stewardess walking by with her car on the plane stopped me and said, I love that book. And what a great conversational piece would be, that's awesome. I just started reading it. What was your biggest takeaway from the book? That is how easy it is to strike up a conversation with a stranger. And it's so much easier when they come to you. So anywhere from the person in line at McDonald's to the stewardess to the businessman that was sitting next to me on my plane. So I met someone who was flying out to Mexico. He owns a factory out in Mexico, and he has shoe stores both in Houston and both in LA. That book started that conversation, and he was telling me how much he read that book, how much he loved that book. He read it and everything that he did, and it striked up the conversation, of course, also about ACN, because once we got through all that, he asked me, well, what is it that you do? He was really intrigued because I was reading that book. So there are so many easy ways to start a conversation, but a couple things I want to highlight from that book, which I know a lot of you probably have taken. So atomic habits, what does that mean first off? So I kind of want to go into the definition, the premise. I'm going to read it straight from the book here. The premise is making just like seamless, really small, unremarkable changes to your everyday life, just something so small you don't even notice it. And in the long run can make huge changes. Here we go. Okay, atomic, it says, in extremely small amount of a thing, the single irreducible unit of a larger system. So we're talking about like an atom, the smallest unit of a system, atomic. And then it goes on to say, which I love this, the second definition of atomic, it says the source of immense energy or power. Sometimes we don't realize how the little things that we do, the little tweaks that we make, the little choices that we make, the little things that we say can make such a huge impactful difference. And sometimes this happens over time. And then it goes in to talk about a habit. What a habit is: a routine or a practice performed regularly, an atomic response to an automatic response to a specific situation. So that's the definition of the title of the book, Atomic Habits. We're talking about these little habits, these little things that we can do and change. And the author talks about, there's one thing he says, where is it? Instead of focusing on the massive changes, let's focus on improving 1% every single day. And I think that's so important because sometimes we think that too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action, right? We talk about it all the time. We need massive action, massive action. And I agree on that 100%. I am one of those people that say I'm in massive action right now because that's what propels me to go. These 90-day blitzes we talk about. But what happens when we take this massive action, or we don't take this massive action, but we make that declaration of stuff that we're going to do? There's either two options. One is we succeed, which is phenomenal. I love that. When Mr. Thomas brought up when Mr. Kupis, one of the co-founders of this amazing, massive billion-dollar company, I was able to get him out to San Antonio. And it's just because I went into massive action. Absolutely. We succeed sometimes. But what happens when we get there? When we reach that finish line, then what's next? Then we have to set a new goal. Sometimes for me, and I always talk about me because I don't know about all y'all, but I know for me, once I reach that goal, once I finish that race, I take a break. And then because I didn't create a habit or a routine, I stopped doing the things that I did to get me to that successful point. And then I'm realizing, like, why am I not successful anymore? Why do I not have the numbers I have anymore? Because I'm not doing the same thing. And then the second option, instead of succeeding, is what? We fail. It happens. We don't meet our goal. We say we're going to do these things. We make these declarations. We put it on the call, tell Mr. Thomas that this is going to happen. And then we don't accomplish it. For whatever reason that is, life happens. We didn't do enough. Whatever that reason is, we don't accomplish it. And then now we're getting down on ourselves. And that's not a good thing because sometimes we feel if we don't succeed, we fail. And that's not true. We don't fail. We aren't failures. But that's the problem sometimes with that massive action. So yes, I love it, but we have to couple it with these little things, these atomic habits, becoming 1% better every single day. And the topic I want to talk about becoming 1% better at, and why I'm bringing up Miss Jennelson, is because one, it's what we say. It's so important that we pay attention to what we say for a couple of reasons. One is because what we say to ourselves really matter, because then we start believing these things. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So we want to be conscious about what we're saying out loud or even in our heads. And I know sometimes for me, I'm doing something, oh man, in the morning, I've been doing this a lot lately since I've been reading this book. So my 1% change is getting better in what I say to myself. And I roll out of bed, I'm like, man, I'm so tired. I don't want to get up. That's just routine for me. That's habit. That's a horrible habit. I don't even have to think about it. It just is word vomit that comes out, and it's the first thought in my mind every single time. I'm not a morning person and I hate it. So I started retraining or trying to retrain myself every time I do say that, because I still say it every morning. I say, knock it off, shut up. You're not tired. We're going to have an awesome day. You're going to rock it. You're going to crush it. And I start saying these positive things to myself. And mind you, I'm still half asleep. I have one eye open, maybe trying to take a look at my phone or whatever it is. But we have to start the day out right. talking to ourselves differently, talking to ourselves better. Why? Because all morning I am going to be sluggish. All morning it's going to suck. Getting in the shower, getting ready typically takes me a couple hours before I'm actually fully awake and ready to conquer my day. And so what we say to ourselves, I was doing this a lot in Orlando, and I didn't realize I've been doing some backsliding lately, and I backslid about what I say to myself. And there were a couple of things that I was saying out loud. I don't even remember what it was. It might have been just my appearance or something I did, or, oh my gosh, that was stupid. But the one person that kept calling me out on it was Miss Jen Olson. And I thank you and I appreciate for that. You're my accountability person for that. I didn't ask her nothing. She just kept looking at me and said, stop talking to my friend like that. Like, the more it happened, the more she kept getting mad at me and said, I told you, stop talking to my friend that way. So what happened towards the end of this Orlando trip is I consciously, every time I thought, before I opened my mouth would open and then it would shut. Those words were no longer coming out of my mouth because of Miss Jen Olson. So y'all get yourself a Jen Olson, keep in your back pocket, keep around you all the time, because that stuff is so important. In what we say will change our entire day. And I want you to sit and think about, what are you saying to yourself every single day? I know a gentleman drives me bonkers. Every time I get on the phone, every time I see him, it's always, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. He would mess up saying something and just say, I'm tired. I'm like, the reason why you're so tired is because you keep telling yourself you're tired. Like, don't stop telling yourself you're tired. And I promise you won't be as tired, because that's what I started doing. And it works. It really does. So one, as I mentioned, is what we do and how we speak to ourselves, how we're talking to ourselves. But then another thing is, not only is it how we speak to ourselves, but it's what we say about what we can accomplish. So this happens without us even thinking, of course, as well. And I don't know if the person I'm going to talk about right now is on this call, and I'm not going to call out any names. And I just want you to know that I'm saying this out of love, no other thing. But it was something that caught my attention is when I'm here and everyone keeps telling me, oh my gosh, I can't believe you made that move. That's such a big move. It's so hard. If only, if only, if only. And so the conversation I had with this person is, if I was single like you, if I didn't have kids like you, if I was in your situation, I would be there in a heartbeat. And for some of you guys might think that's not something bad to say, because it's true. She has kids that are in school and that uproot their lives, and all this stuff could be something so big and so impactful. But how many people move for work? How many people travel across country for their normal jobs or their husband's jobs or whatever it is? I know I was talking to someone in Lubbock, and I said, oh, what brought you here? And she said, my daughter got accepted to school here. She moved to Lubbock because her daughter got accepted to the university here, and her son's still in college, and they moved here to be with their daughter. That's the first time I ever heard that happening. But that was kind of cool. And with me, I thought I could have said the same thing. I could have said, well, I don't know anybody out there. Well, I don't have any contacts. I'm going to be all alone. I'm a social person. I'm not going to have any friends, nobody to talk to. Who's going to help me move? These are things that I could have set in place. These are obstacles I could have said to kept me and prevented me from making this move. So we are limiting ourselves by setting up these limitations. We are the only ones setting it up. And yes, you might think it's true, but also it could be possible, because it is for hundreds of people every single day. People travel for work. So why not for ACN? And I do want to highlight an amazing couple I met when we were in Orlando at this awesome event. And I'm going to keep bringing that up because you guys, you know what? If you're not attending these events, you're really missing out, and your business is really missing out, because there's so much that happens. It is unbelievable. And there's so many epiphanies and changes that happen. But Miss Ina and Stephen Unger, I hope I'm saying your names right. I met them, and they were talking about me and my story, and then moving to Lubbock. And they were like, we just did that. We uprooted our entire family from California, I believe it was, I hope I got that right, to Dallas, Texas. So they're only 5 hours away from me, but they have kids. They have their family. They had jobs. I don't know what they're doing, but they uprooted everything to go to Dallas, because right now, Texas is one of the hottest markets for ACN, for these services, for electricity, for everything that's going on. And they said, we need to be where the action is. We're going to move. So watch what you say to yourself and these limitations that you're setting up. because by saying that, and yes, it's 100% true, it is not easy to do some of these things, but you're believing that it's impossible because you're setting these limitations. And I want to let you know that nothing is impossible. Where there's a will, there's a way. If it's something you want to do, you will figure it out. If it's something that you just have your heart set on, your family will understand and enroll your family in your movements and in what you're doing. And I promise you, they will be behind you 100% of the way. So the third way that what we say matters is just being that positive, optimistic person throughout the day, even when you're not feeling like it, because you never know who's listening. You never know who's paying attention to you. And one of the 1% things I started changing every single day is when someone asks me, how is your day going? Regardless, it's either fantastic or awesome, no matter how my day is going, because one, that changes my mood. And I said, I'm going to say it's fantastic or awesome because no matter what I'm having, I can't say fantastic without a smile. Like you can't, the word just won't come out. Fantastic. And it helps uplift you. So I was, someone asked me that question, how is your day going? And I said, awesome. That was my choice of the word for that moment. And now it's happening. It's a small habit I have created. Nothing else will come out of my mouth but those two words. Now, it took a long time. I promise you it did. Because when I'm not feeling it, man, I'm tired. Man, it's been a long day. These are normal responses that everyone says. But I said, I'm doing awesome. How about you? And he stopped and he looked at me and he said, you know what? I was going to say something negative. I was just going to say something negative because it was natural and it already feels like a long day, even though it's the morning. But because of you, I am doing awesome as well. And I said, great, I love to hear that. So I changed this person's outlook on his whole day by saying one word. How many people, how many energies, how many days can you change by changing one word that comes out of your mouth on a daily basis? That's routine. And so we have our conversation, we do our thing, and we're talking. And then as I'm leaving, I just make that a point because he did tell me he was going to be negative, and then he wasn't negative anymore. So as I was leaving, and I said, just keep it positive. That's all I said with a smile on my face. Let's just keep it positive. And he said, you know what? After meeting you, today will be nothing but positivity. And that made me feel so special and so good because of this one little thing that I decided to change in my wording, no matter how my day was. And y'all, if you start saying that you're awesome, you're feeling good, it's a beautiful day. I say that all the time, even when it's cloudy outside, it's a beautiful day. Why is it beautiful? Because I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm living, I'm happy, I have a home, I have a food, I eat my tacos. It's always a beautiful day. So the homework that I want y'all to take home with you and some things to pay attention to is what you say to yourself. What are you restricting yourself from? And what comes out of your mouth that changes other people's daily habits as well? Because I hope just that one encounter helps that gentleman. I don't even know his name, but I hope it changes his mentality and always wanting to start saying awesome and fantastic more. So that is my topic for the day. That is all I have. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I've noticed I've been backsliding a little. This is something I work on a lot, is just being that positive environment for other people. And Jen is the one that helped me realize that, hey, I'm starting to be negative against myself. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know why. I don't know who I have in my life that I'm absorbing this from, but I need to block them and start bringing in more people like y'all, more people like Jen. And let's just stay positive, y'all. Let's keep positive thoughts for ourselves. You aren't tired. It is okay to wake up in the morning. Be happy. Go out there. Get your work done. And make someone else's day as positive and happy as well, just by brightening up their day. So thank y'all. I'm so excited to be here. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day.